प्रातः स्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वम् सच्चित् सुखं परमहं सगतिं तुरीयम् यत् जागर सुषुप्तिमवैति नित्यम् तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनम् पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानं विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति. Just as cooking is not possible without fire, so is liberation not possible without knowledge. पाकस्य वह्नि वज्ञानम बिना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति. हम यहाँ मोक्ष प्राप्त करने आए हैं. हम यहाँ मोक्ष प्राप्त करने आए हैं. The purpose of our classes, the purpose of our discussion is moksha. That's what we have come here to gain. And knowledge is an essential aspect, an essential ingredient. A lot of other things are needed in cooking. You need the food you want to cook, you need the raw materials, you need everything. But the most essential part of cooking is the fire. So similarly, on the spiritual path, you need n number of things, but the most essential, or perhaps the foundational ingredient, is the fire, is the knowledge. Hari Om, welcome back to Gems of Bhagavad Gita. Today is our concluding class of this session, of this season. I have lost count which season we are in. But we are nearing the end. We are nearing the end of our journey as we discussed through chapter 16. So we'll continue from where we left off yesterday in chapter 16. The qualities of the divine and the demonic. Daiva or Asura. Broadly speaking, there are two kinds of people in the world. Those who are Daivik and those who are Asuric. Everybody's in the middle. Everybody's somewhere in the middle. It's a range. It's a spectrum. Those who are spiritually inclined versus those who are completely enmeshed in mundane activities. Those who are selfish versus those who are unselfish. Those who are egoistic versus those who are free from the ill effects of the ego. It's all a spectrum. Nobody is 100% Daiva. Nobody is 100% Asura. And in the scriptures, you constantly see there's a conflict between the Devas and the Asuras. The scriptures, you constantly see there's a conflict between the Devas and the Asuras. They're always constantly fighting. There's always some episode where one of the Devas is afraid, okay, the Asuras are coming to attack. There's constantly a battle between the negative qualities and the positive qualities in you. There's constantly a battle between the negative qualities and the positive qualities. There are these Daivic qualities in you. There are the Asuric qualities in you. And there's constantly a battle. Now, what you choose to side with, what you choose to support, what you choose to support, that's where your effort comes in. That's where your effort comes in. What do you give precedence to? What do you support through your discipline, through your effort, through your time and energy, investment of your time and energy? What qualities do you cultivate? Whatever you cultivate, that will get stronger and that will win the war. It's as simple as that. There's a constant battle within you happening in your antahkaran between the Daivik and the Asuric qualities in you. Whatever qualities you cultivate, whatever qualities you give time and effort and your discipline to, whatever qualities will grow in you, in the 11th hour, during the battle, those qualities will emerge victorious. So this is the time when we study and gain knowledge of these qualities, and then consciously decide what do we want to cultivate in ourselves and what do we want to not. So we've seen the 26 qualities of the Daivas, the 26 beautiful qualities which each of us ought to cultivate if we are interested on the spiritual journey. I'm assuming you all are interested in the spiritual journey. That's why you are here. Otherwise, why will we be wasting time? You are here because you want to work on yourselves and grow step by step. So it's in your interest to get to the depth of these qualities and cultivate them. And simultaneously, beware of the demonic qualities. Beware of the demonic qualities because they are what pull you down. Each of us has these qualities in us and they are what pull us down. So verse number 4, we covered 1, 2, 3. Verse number 4 talks about the asuric qualities, the demonic qualities. There are 6 qualities which he discusses. So verse number 1, 2, 3, we covered with the 26 qualities of the divine. Verse number 4 is going to talk about the 6 qualities of the demonic. We'll chant it together and then we'll take it up. Dambho darpobhimanascha क्रोधः पारुष्यमेव च अज्ञानं चाभिजातस्य पार्थ सम्पदमासुरीम् दम्भो दर्पोऽभिमानश्च क्रोधः पारुष्यमेव च अज्ञानं चाभिजातस्य पार्थ सम्पदमासुरीम्. हे पार्थ, पाखंड, घमंड, अभिमान, क्रोध और कठोर वाणी, अज्ञान भी आसुरी संपदा से प्राप्त लक्षण है. ओ पार्थ, ऑस्टेंटेशन, arrogance, self-conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these belong to one born of demonic nature. These belong to one born of demonic nature. So, the 6 qualities of a demonic person, we'll take it up one by one. We'll take it up one by one. Pakhanda, ostentation. Ostentation. What is the meaning of ostentation? The meaning of ostentation is wanting to appear greater than what one actually is. Ostentatious behavior is a false appearance of oneself, an exaggerated appearance of oneself, trying to show others that you are greater than what you actually are. Whether it's a false show of wealth, whether it's a false show of health and grandeur, whether it's a false show of affection also, whether it's a false show of knowledge and scholarship. Misleading people about who you actually are simply because you want to appear a certain way. You can have n number of reasons why you want to appear certain way. You can have some selfish motive. Maybe you want something from them. Maybe you have to gain from how you appear, or it can be just a general weakness in you. But ostentation, opposite of that, we have seen in the qualities of the divine, being straightforward, not having a weakness of a false appearance, being absolutely straightforward. So we've seen the opposite in the qualities of the divine. Now we see that the exact opposite in the qualities of the demonic. Someone who wants to pretend. Someone who wants to pretend. Someone who wants to show affection, but actually there is hatred or maybe some kind of negative emotion. See, we do it all the time. We do it socially. We try to appear like very caring and nice. And the moment the person leaves, we start talking ill about them. Or we pass some snide comments about them, or we gossip about them. What is that? What is that? If you are appearing somewhat in front of a person, very affectionate for social reasons, whatever, but the moment they leave, you can't hold, you can't hold your comments in your stomach. You just, the moment they leave, you have to say something derogatory. It's all part of this. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying all of us, maybe to whatever extent we have done this, we need to identify this quality in ourselves. Can't help but talk about others. It's a major weakness. It's a major weakness. Ostentation, dambha. It's a simulation of virtue. Swamiji says, Swami Parthasarathi says, it's a simulation of virtue. You try to look too good. There's a beautiful poem called If. There's a beautiful poem called If by Rudyard Kipling. And अगर आपको chance मिले तो जरूर पढ़ना. It's one of my favorite poems. It's one of my favorite poems. And मुझे याद है जब मैं स्कूल में था तो मैंने पहली बार पढ़ा था. I think जब मैं क्लास 6 या 7 में था. एक बड़े इंस्पिरेशनल टीचर थे जो पढ़ाते थे. And I still remember those lines have stayed with me. Essentially, it's talking about the qualifications of a perfect human being. This poem, If, is talking about the qualifications of a perfect human being. If you can do this, if you can do this, if you can do that, if you can do that, if you can do all of this, then you are a perfect human being. Then you are a perfect human being. And these qualifications seemed very legitimate. If you can keep your head about you when all others are losing it and blaming it on you, if you can remain calm in a situation when other people are getting agitated and affected and tension and losing their peace of mind, and on top of that, blaming it on you, taking out their anger on you. If you can keep calm in that situation, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. So often we are swayed by the opinion of others. If others are expressing doubt, immediately our faith gets shaken. But if you can trust yourself, you can have that Atma Vishwas when everybody around you is doubting you, is not convinced. But at the same time, make allowance for their doubting too. At the same time, be objective enough to listen to what they are saying and constructively taking feedback. What a quality. What a quality. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you. So at the emotional level, you're trusting yourself, but at the same time, you're taking in their concerns, you're taking in their criticism, you're taking in their doubts. In fact, that's what makes you trust yourself even more. See, you will not trust yourself only when you're perfect. Your capacity to work on yourself and make yourself perfect, that's what creates trust. Nobody is perfect. Everybody is imperfect. But your capacity to lift yourself by yourself, that's what creates trust in you. So if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you and make allowances for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired of waiting. If you can wait and not be tired of waiting. If you have that patience, if you have that understanding of the circumstances. Beautiful qualities. Anyway, he says all these good qualities. If you can do this, if you can do that, if you can do this, if you can do that. And then he says a beautiful line. And yet nor look too good, nor talk too wise. And yet, अगर आप ये सब कर सकते हो और फिर भी you're not trying to look too good, not talk too wise. आप ये जो आपके आप में गुण है वो आप दिखावा नहीं कर रहे हो उसके. You're not trying to show as if you have these qualities. You're keeping a low profile. The best of people keep a low profile. The best of people are not known. The best of people are not recognized. What the world values, I'm not saying the world is always wrong, but very often the world misses out on the best of people. See, you have to be a Milton to recognize a Milton. You have to be an Einstein to recognize an Einstein. You have to be a Tendulkar to recognize a Tendulkar. So the best of people are only recognizable by the best of people. The world will value and appreciate and put on a pedestal whatever it values. So I'm not saying the world is always wrong, but the best of people are not known. Why? Because they keep a low profile. They keep a low profile. They neither look too good nor talk too wise. That's the opposite of that is dambaha, ostentation. You may not be good, but you're trying to look good. You're trying to pretend that you're great. You're trying to pretend that you have great amount of material wealth. You have a lot of love and affection and care. You have a lot of knowledge and you're very smart and wise and knowledgeable. It's an expression of ego. It's an expression of ego. Pakhand, ostentation. One of the primary quality of a demonic person. The primary quality of a demonic person. So when you see someone who's, first of all, don't be ostentatious yourself. Don't be ostentatious yourself. That's the first lesson. Second is, when you see an ostentatious person, see, very often we get annoyed. हम चिढ़ जाते हैं. अरे यार, this person is taking up too much space. This person is trying to be too smart or be too, hog all the limelight. Why are you getting annoyed? First thing you have to tell yourself, first quality of a demonic person, dambaha, an ostentation. So don't get affected. First of all, focus on yourself. Don't be ostentatious yourself. Work on what you are, not how you appear. That should be the mantra. Work on what you are. Work on yourself rather than how you appear. Second quality, ghamand, darpaha, arrogance, ghamand, great level of arrogance. Great level of arrogance. A superiority complex. An arrogance at every level. An arrogance of your wealth, an arrogance of your status, an arrogance of your knowledge. You know a little bit of knowledge and you stamp your authority. The arrogance is the feeling, I know. I am right. That's the feeling. Arrogance is the feeling, I don't need to listen to anyone else. I alone am correct. Sorry. Great amount of pride and vanity. See, a little bit of wealth people earn and they become arrogant about it. A little bit of wealth people earn and they go into a different strata of society. So many Hindi movies are made on it. A common man became a bada admi and then he forgot his roots. He became a little haughty about it. And in the end of the movie, he learns his lesson. He faces the ill effects of his arrogance. And then he learns his lesson and he comes back to humility. See, arrogance usually arises when you don't value depth. It's a very superficial quality. When you go by the superficial qualities in people, and when you go by the superficial qualities in yourself, you become arrogant about it. Usually it's a stroke of luck. Usually it's a stroke of luck that gives you name, fame, success, acknowledgement, recognition. But that recognition, that success gets to your head. And when it gets to your head, you superficially value that recognition. You superficially value that moment of success. You superficially value your temporary status. And you begin to think of others as less than you. People are also arrogant about their youth. Imagine young people who say, "Arey, aapko kuch nahi malum. You're very slow. Aapko kuch nahi malum." Arrogance of youth. Adi Shankaracharya says, "Ma kuru dhanajana yauvana garvam, harati nimeshat kalah sarvam." Ma kuru, do not be arrogant about dhana jana yauvana garvam. Don't be arrogant about your health, wealth, and your youth. Don't be arrogant about your wealth, your status, your knowledge, your youth. Yauvana garvam. Harati nimeshat kalah sarvam. What are you arrogant about? See, the heart of arrogance is, I have done it all. I have achieved this. I deserve this. Adi Shankaracharya says, first of all, you don't recognize the contribution of others in your success. You are becoming arrogant because you don't recognize that others have played an incredible part in your success. You don't even recognize it. Who all have brought you where you are today? Who all have brought you where you are today? Who has given you the knowledge that you possess? Who has given you the experience that you possess? Who has given you the opportunities that you possess? Who has given you the basic learning? Who has taught you the language that you speak? Who has fed you all your life to keep you nourished? And these are all external factors. What is the power within you that has kept your heart pumping? What is that power within you which has kept your mind fresh and capable of learning? This Udana Shakti, what has kept your pranas vital? What has made sure that you didn't get Alzheimer's? I'm being blunt about it. Did you come with a guarantee that you will not get diseased? So n number of factors have worked towards your success today. Wherever you have come, you have failed to recognize it and you develop a foolish arrogance. I am great. I have achieved this. I have done this. So on the one hand, you've gained an arrogance because you are unaware of what has contributed to your success. Many people may have had the same amount of knowledge as you, but it may be a situation or circumstance that has given you a certain level of success while others have lost out. Facebook की जो co-founder है, I'm forgetting his name. He's written a book. He's written a book about how eventually, even if you do all the right things, success is a matter of luck. You have to do the right things. You have to put in the effort. Without effort, there's no success. So we're not saying it's only luck, but despite doing all the right things, there's a huge factor of being at the right place at the right time. Now, who ensured that you are at the right place at the right time? So if you do that, you will not, if you are aware of that, you will not be arrogant. The extent to which you are aware of that, you won't be arrogant. You'll acknowledge there are people maybe as good as me, maybe even better than me. So on the one hand, you're not aware of whatever has contributed to your success, to your status, to your position. And you're also unaware that life can take everything away in a moment. Life can take everything away. Harati nimeshat kalah sarvam. This is what Adi Shankaracharya says. Don't be arrogant. First of all, your arrogance is foolish because you're not aware of what has contributed. And secondly, life can take away everything in a second. Life can bring you to the streets in a second. All your superficial success, your status, your so-called achievements can be drowned in a minute. Life can take away anything and everything away from you. So have that humility. Understand your life is very fragile. Understand. Enjoy your success. Enjoy your status. Enjoy your position. Enjoy your power. No doubt. There's no harm in that. But have that humility. Have that humility. Have that gratitude. While you enjoy the power, have that gratitude of everything that has worked to get you there. While you enjoy your success, have that gratitude to appreciate everything that has supported you till that level and continues to support you. Continues to support you. Have that gratitude that everything in the world is functioning meticulously so that nothing goes wrong. Because one thing goes off and finished. One thing. There could be an aneurysm in your blood vessels. You know what an aneurysm is? There could be an aneurysm in your blood vessels. And if that bursts or something happens, there'll be stop of blood supply to the brain. You'll become paralyzed. Nobody will know. In a moment, your life will change. So your arrogance is a product of your foolishness. When I say you, I include me. I'm always including me. Our arrogance is a product of our foolishness. We will be absolutely foolish to develop this arrogance. But yet we do. And that's the second quality of a demonic person, that arrogance. See, these all qualities are related. They're all the center. The center of all these qualities is what? The ego. The ego, the individuality, the excessive attention on the individuality. That is the next quality. Abhiman, self-conceit. Self-conceit. An exaggerated opinion of oneself. An exaggerated attention on oneself. Abhiman. So as I said, the fulcrum of all of this is the ego. The ego. It's the ego which makes you ostentatious. It is the ego which develops arrogance. It's the ego which creates in you Abhiman. What is this Abhiman? It broadly expresses in three ways. The ego expresses in three ways. Let me see if I can pull out the slide. The ego expresses in three ways. Okay, I don't have it. I can't find it. Simple slide to show you what, graphical representation. Anyway, the ego expresses in three ways. I am supreme, the first expression of the ego. I am supreme. I am the greatest. I am the greatest. That superiority complex. I am worthy of adoration. I'm worthy of praise. I'm worthy of worship. Everybody should bow to me. Everybody should appreciate me. Everybody should acknowledge me. Everybody should praise me. See, some people have a habit. Some people have a habit, always giving their own example. Whenever you're talking, even in a conversation about the other person, when the conversation is about the other person, they'll bring themselves into it. And they'll highlight their achievement. It's a small expression of I am supreme. And we get deeply affected when we are not acknowledged, when we are not appreciated. When we get deeply affected by this. When we are not given the respect that we deserve. I'm not saying you should not be respected. I'm talking about how affected you get when you don't get the respect you think you should get. I'm not going into the merits or demerits of whether you deserve the respect or not. The second expression of Abhiman is I alone exist. I alone exist. I alone exist means your entire attention and awareness is on your own existence, on your own needs, on your own desires, on your own requirements. You're blind to the existence and the needs of others. Such people are terrible listeners. Such people are terrible listeners. Forget listening. They won't even be aware. They won't even be aware of how to manage other people. All the time it's about their plans and what they want to do. I'm not saying they'll see, the idea of I alone exist is the other person doesn't even come to their mind. I'm not saying they're purposely being negative. They're purposely ignoring the other person. No, it doesn't even come to their mind. What others want, what others' preferences, how others are feeling. I alone exist. And we are all victim to this for some amount of time. Maybe not all the time, but there may be periods of time when we forget about the existence of others. When there's a very strong desire in us, when there is a very strong expression of ego in us, we fall victim to this. I alone exist. ठंडा लग रहा है तो एसी बंद कर दिया, गर्म लग रहा है तो एसी ऑन कर दिया. I alone exist. And I am the doer, the kartritva bhavana, the third expression of Abhiman. I am the doer, feeling like you are the responsible one for everything. You alone have made your contributions. You alone have worked. Blind to the contributions of others. No spirit of collaboration, no spirit of cooperation, no gratitude. Wanting to take all the credit yourself. And when you don't get the credit, you get affected. When you don't get appreciated, you get affected. So these are three expressions. I am supreme, I alone exist, and I am the doer. The three expressions of Abhiman. And the fourth quality of a demonic person, Krodha. I have explained Krodha so many times, I think you can take the class now. Anybody wants to explain what is Krodha? How it comes about? Krodha, anger. Anger is a modification of desire. Anger is a modification of desire. In the divine we saw no Krodha, absence of Krodha. In the demonic we are seeing Krodha. It's one of the most visible qualities in a person. One of the most visible qualities in a person. And not only, I'm not talking about a third person being, seeing what is. You yourself can acknowledge and recognize this quality in you very easily. You just have to watch your thoughts, be honest with yourself, what you are feeling. When do you feel anger? You feel anger when a desire is interrupted. You feel anger when a desire is interrupted. Whenever something comes in the way of what you want, you get angry at that obstruction. You get angry at that thing. If it's a small innocuous desire, like going to the movie, I always give the example of going to the movie. If it's a small innocuous desire like going to the movie, it's a momentary anger and you get over it. If it's a very deep-seated and strong desire, it can have serious repercussions for your life. People develop anger problems. Why? Because there are so many unfulfilled and unaddressed desires. Frustrated. The more frustrated people get due to unfulfilled desires, the more angry they become as people. So wherever there is anger, don't look to control the anger. Look for the desire behind it. Look for the unfulfilled desire behind it. That's the way to get over your anger. You have to address the desire behind it. And it can be complex. It can be complex. And usually you show anger not where you are angry in one direction. You are angry towards someone, but you show it to someone else. Why? Because you can afford it to show it to someone else. If you show anger to exactly where you feel the anger, if you show your anger to your boss, it can have negative repercussions for you. So you bottle up your anger towards them and you express it somewhere else where the other person cannot harm you. Which is why they say, both positively and negatively, one of the greatest qualities, one of the greatest indications of what kind of person you are is how you treat someone who can give nothing to you, nor who can take anything from you. If someone who can neither give you anything or take anything from you, if you have nothing to gain from someone, how do you treat them? That's a very, very strong indication of what kind of person you are. Very often we take out our anger on people who are less powerful, who can't harm us, who can't do anything to us. But if you want to get over our anger, it's very important to identify what is the desire unfulfilled. But the concept is, the more the unfulfilled desires, the greater the anger. The greater the anger. And anger leads to harshness. The fifth quality. The fifth quality of a demonic person. They're all related. Harshness. Again, we saw the opposite in the divine qualities. We saw gentleness, komala. But here we see kathor, harshness. Lot of pent up anger makes you harsh. Makes you harsh. It makes you almost vindictive of life. It's a sadistic behavior almost. A sadistic behavior almost, where you don't even care how the other person is feeling. You have no feeling. You have no feeling. Harshness is an extremely tamasic quality. Extremely tamasic quality, where you are not even aware. Even if you're aware, you almost like ignore how your actions, your words are affecting and hurting the other person. You're brash in your expression. You're harsh in your expression. And this is usually arising out of deep-seated frustration. This is usually arising out of a lot of unfulfilled desires, a lot of complex anger, envy, jealousy, greed, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, bhaya. All of these packed up. See, who is a demonic person? A demonic person is one who has given a free run to his desires, who is indulgent. And the result of indulgence is this. The result of indulgence is this. The result of giving a free run to your ego is this. You become harsh. A demonic person is a victim of his own nature. All of this arises, the sixth quality of a demonic person. All of this arises from ignorance. At the heart of the demonic person is fundamental ignorance of life and living. He is a victim of this because he is ignorant of the higher values of life, of the true purpose of life. He is ignorant, and as a result of it, he's indulgent, he's egoistic, and he gives his desires a free run. And this is what results. This is what results. When you have knowledge, at least you have an ability to work on your negativities. With knowledge, you don't become perfect immediately. But with knowledge, at least you can start working on yourself. But if you remain ignorant, it's like you're going through a bottomless pit. And when you're tamasic, what is the quality of tamas? Tamas is where an ignorant person doesn't even know he's ignorant. He doesn't believe he's ignorant. So the most demonic of all are those who are absolutely ignorant but believe they are right. That's the paradox of tamas. The paradox of tamas is you are absolutely wrong, but you believe you are absolutely right. And so you will continue to be wrong because you have no thought of self-correction. So that's the paradox of ignorance. The ignorant will remain ignorant. The ignorant will remain ignorant. Because why? They don't even believe they're ignorant. It's not whether you have knowledge or ignorance that matters. It's the direction. Whether you believe that there is something more to learn. Even people with little bit of knowledge who have become convinced that they know it all, they are on a downward trend. Even with someone who lacks knowledge but believes there is something to learn, they are on the right direction. But a demonic person is one who is ignorant and also believes that he knows it all. That's a double fault, a double whammy. And if you have such an attitude in life, even God can't help you. Even God can't help you. And this is not me saying it, God himself will say. God himself will say in the next few verses, such people are doomed. Such people are deemed for hell. They are born in demonic wombs. All sorts of things he goes on to say. Of course, we don't have the time to take it up in this session. We don't have the time to take it up in this, but we will continue with our discussion of the divine and demonic. The next portion of this chapter elaborates on the demonic, elaborates on the asuric qualities and the asuric journey. He says very clearly, the divine qualities lead one to liberation. The asuric qualities lead one to bondage. Now you decide, what do you want? The beauty of Vedanta is it doesn't say this is right or this is wrong. It gives an objective assessment of the consequences. It gives an objective assessment of the consequences. So here, having discussed these qualities, Bhagavan will say the divine qualities lead to liberation, to moksha. The asuric qualities lead to bondage, bandhana. Now you decide what you want in your life. We're not telling you what you should do. Is you have to decide. So with that thought, we will leave you this season. We will leave you with this inspiration. Please do go through whatever portions we have covered. If you have the textbooks, definitely I would suggest reading them. And over the next month before we meet, try to go to the depth of each of these qualities which we have discussed. Keep them at the back of your mind and develop one or two or three of them which you are inspired by. Start working on yourself in that regard. So with that thought, we'll conclude today's class and we'll conclude this season. We'll see you once again in 1 month, or rather in 20 days. So at the beginning of the 21st of next month is when we will meet you, and we will continue our discussion with chapter 16 and chapter 17, and then we'll be on the last lap. So with that thought, have a wonderful month ahead. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.